What's up, everybody? I'm Jennifer Smiley, and this is my 2025 In the Bag. So I am using the James Conrad Voyager Pro in the green colorway. This fits all of the discs I might need on the course, plus any backups, which I really love. So I'll get started with my putting putters. So I use the Cosmic Electron Atom. This is my main putter. I use it every time I make a putt inside circle. This is my backup putter in case something happens to my purple one. And this one I've named Warpy because somebody accidentally drove over it with a car. But it flies great and it's not punctured. It's just super straight, and so I use it for throwing and long distance putts. I guess next up would be the spin. So I have an Electron spin in the bag. This is for deep circle 2 putts to maybe even circle 3, and also for scramble shots where I need to throw something soft but still have something turn. And then we have my throwing putters. I love throwing putters, hence all of the putters in my bag. So first up is my main throwing putter, which is the Eclipse Envy, and this is my stamp. So I throw this all the time for pretty much any approach shot. It flies really straight with a very little fade at the end, so really perfect. I prefer to just throw straight up the target instead of hyzering something in, but I have other discs for that if the situation calls for it. I also have a Cosmic Neutron Envy. This disc is probably the oldest disc in my bag by far. I got this when I first started playing, and I actually have a tournament ace with it, so it's kind of in there for nostalgia, but it's super straight, and if I'm ever concerned about my other Envy fading out, then I'll throw this one. Then I have my more overstable putters, I guess putt and approaches. So first up is the Tempo. I'm currently bagging a Eclipse Tempo because I lost my Neutron one. But this flies really great. It's straight with a pushing hyzer finish for me. So I use this, anywhere from 200 feet and in, just if I need something to hyzer into the basket and get around any obstacles. And then my last approach disc is the Entropy. This is a Cosmic Neutron one. I use this mainly in windy situations, so one where I'm concerned about either going too far with the Envy or if there's a ripping headwind, I throw the Entropy. It works really, really great. I use it more for a utility disc, so it doesn't come out every round, but it's something I know I can rely on when I need to. Those are my putters, and they all fit up in the top slot, so I really love that about this bag. Next up are my mid-ranges. So probably my most used mid-range is my Eclipse Hex. And I've had this in the bag for a little over a year now, so it flies very straight for me. It can have a little bit of a fade, but mostly just dead straight. I use this for shots between, 240 and 260 probably. And it's just really reliable. I can put it on any angle and know that it's going to hold that angle. So really love this disc. Next up, I have 2 detours in the bag. So one is a Neutron one with the Bendy James stamp. And then I also have an Eclipse detour. This one is definitely a lot flippier, so it's again more of a utility disc. I can throw it really soft and know it'll turn. I do throw the Eclipse one almost every round. If I want something to have a late turn, I can put this on a little bit of hyzer and it'll flip up and then drift right, which I really, really love the flight of. I'm not a forehand dominant player, so having discs that I know I can trust to turn and go right is super, super important to me. So these are really, really amazing discs to have in my bag. And then I also have this really, really cool Neutron balance, the version 1 balance. So this one is a very beefy mid-range, and I use this for wind approaches mostly. Something where I would normally throw my hex if it's a calm day, but I need to make sure it doesn't flip. In a windy situation, I'd throw the balance. Or again, just to get around things, if I need something to hyzer and not go straight, anything like that, this disc comes out for. So really, really love those. Again, the hex is probably my most used mid-range out of those 4. Okay, so next up are my fairway drivers, or my 6.5 speeds. So I mainly throw the servo. I used to be a Crave girl, but I have switched over to the servo. It's just a little bit more torque resistant, I found, and holds up better in wind. So I really love it. I have this 166 gram Neutron servo, which is pretty flippy at this point, so I use it for shots I know I need to go to the right on. It almost acts like my Neutron Detour does, but just goes further. So really, really love this disc. It doesn't fly like the numbers because it's so beat in, but it's really, really wonderful for that like 260 to 280 foot shot. This disc is really, really great. And then I also have this beautiful Neutron servo that was dyed for me by my dye sponsor, Howie from Chains or Die. He does really, really amazing work. And this one is my straight servo. So I can throw it flat and it'll go straight with a little bit of a fade at the end. This one goes anywhere from 260 to 290, I'd say. I've hit 300 a couple times with it, but it's not like a max distance shot. It's just a 6.5 speed, but it's super, super reliable. I know it's not gonna get a big skip, and if I want something where I can put it on a little bit of anhyzer, I know it'll flex and push straight and it'll hold it. If I want to put it on hyzer, it'll hold that without dumping. So super, super great disc. If you haven't tried the servo, you absolutely should. Highly recommend. Next up is a new addition to my bag, and that is the resistor. So I have 2 resistors in my bag. This one is a little bit newer than this one is. I believe they're both around 166 grams, so not max weight or anything, so they're not gonna be crazy overstable. This one is straighter. It flies very similarly to my servo, the dyed one, but it has a very reliable finish at the end without, again, dumping. One thing about me is I love discs with a lot of glide, mainly because I need as much distance out there as I can get. So having a disc that I know I can throw hard without it flipping over, that will still give me a reliable finish at the end is so, so important to me. So I really, really love this resistor, and I use it every single round. This one is newer to my bag, and it's definitely more stable than the pink one. It comes out in windier situations. Again, if there's a ripping headwind and I was gonna throw this one, I'll probably throw this one instead, and probably just put it on a little bit more hyzer. But Both resistors get a lot of use and I really, really love them. It's another slept on disc in the MVP lineup, so definitely check it out. Highly, highly recommend if you're looking for a straight to stable 6.5 speed. So next up are my 8 to 10 speeds. So a new addition to the bag for me is the Prism Neutron, maybe, Trance. It's an 8.5 speed, I believe, maybe just 8 speed. It's new to the MVP lineup. If you threw the ones that came out last year, these ones are straighter and fly more true to numbers. Highly, highly recommend. For me, this flies like my resistor, but it goes further. So if I want something with that same flight, this is my go-to disc. I love it. It also, if you threw the new amps that just came out from MVP, this flies very similarly to that. But it doesn't beat in quite as fast because it's Neutron, and I love it. And look at that Neutron plastic. The new swirls are amazing. Yeah, I'm obsessed. This disc is amazing. I also throw a Wrath as my overstable 9-speed. So this one doesn't get used a ton. It's more of a utility disc for me. But it works really, really well. This one's been in the bag for a little while, so you might see a new one rotate in soon. But it works really, really great when I need something to finish left. So my 10 speed is a Neutron Trail, also with my B stamp on it. I love this disc. For me, it flies pretty similarly to my Cosmic Neutron Wave, but it doesn't turn as much and it doesn't fade as much. So if I'm in the woods and I need something to go pretty straight, I throw the Trail. It flies super, super well and it goes over 300 feet, which is super useful for me out there on the Pro Tour. As someone who doesn't throw crazy far, I need all the glide I can get, and this is a very glidey disc. So love this one. Don't see it leaving the bag anytime soon. Last up are my distance drivers. So I have 3 different molds of distance drivers. So first up are my waves. So this one is just a fission wave. It's about 175 grams. It's been in the bag for a couple of months now, I'd say, but it flies pretty flippy. Pretty flippy flight, I guess I should say. So this one I will, if I'm throwing it for a distance shot, I'll put it on about that much hyzer. It'll flip up and it'll turn. And it basically doesn't come back once it turns. I use this a lot for big sky and hyzer shots because it'll fight and it'll start to just pan out and go right, which is a really, really useful shot. It works kind of, for me, in replacement to a distance forehand for most players. Doesn't completely replicate that shot, but super useful for me. And then next up are my Cosmic Neutron Waves. So these are my favorite distance drivers. I throw them all the time. On the majority of holes that we play on tour, I will be throwing my Cosmic Neutron Wave. This one is my main one. It's an old Cosmic Neutron Wave. Honestly, this one is too. They're both about 170. And I prefer the flat top waves. They're just a little bit more stable, and I can rely on them a little bit better than the domier ones. So yeah, and Cosmic Neutron is a little bit more stable than other plastics, so not only does it look really pretty, but the discs fly really, really great in this plastic. Cosmic Neutron is probably my favorite plastic in the MVP plastic lineup. But yeah, so this one's my main one. This one is slightly flippier, but I mainly have it in my bag as a backup in case anything happens to this one. So, my holy grail, my distance drivers, the Wave. I'd say next up in stability would be my Fission Defy. This one is starting to get a little bit too beat in, so I'd like to put a new Fission one in my bag soon if I could. It's 171 grams. This one flew out of the box very similarly to my Cosmic Neutron Wave, but it wouldn't turn and the fade was a little bit more reliable, which made it a really, really wonderful addition to my bag. I could throw it in a headwind and not be too concerned about it turning over. Now it's getting a little flippier, so it's not something I trust too much in a headwind right now, which is why I added in a Neutron Defy. So the Neutron Defy is very new to my bag right now and honestly a little bit beefy. I would like to beat it in a little bit more and then I feel like it would be perfect because right now it has a little bit of overlap with my Zenith. So in order of stability for these three, it would probably go like this. So this one is getting a little too flippy. I need to put a new one in. This one kind of falls between the two, and this one, if it's a headwind, it's not turning, it's not flipping, it's gonna dump pretty hard left. Which isn't a bad thing, but not quite what I was expecting the Neutron one to do, so I just need to beat it in a little bit. I just got this like 2 weeks ago, so very new to the bag. The Zenith I've had in the bag for over a year at this point. The mold anyways, this one is a new one. Flies pretty straight with a pushing finish. Something I use anytime I need to hyzer in anywhere. It goes really far without losing distance while still giving me that reliable overstable finish. So really, really love the Zenith. I know I'm gonna love this Defy once I get it beat into the right point, but right now it's just a little beefy, but it's still super useful as an overstable distance driver. We play in a lot of wind out there on tour, so having something that's reliable in a 40-mile-an-hour wind is super, super amazing. So highly recommend this. I'd say honorable mention in those 40-mile-an-hour wind situations, I throw a Neutron Fireball. It does not stay in my bag very often, but if I know it's going to be super windy, that disc does come into the bag. But yeah, those are all of my discs, and yeah, I love them all. There are some that I would be very upset if I ever lost, like my Ace disc or my Warpy Atom. I really, really love those. But yeah, all of them are really, really great. I know it's a lot of discs, more than most people probably, but they all have a use, and even though some of them are utility discs, you never know when you're gonna need to pull something out. So if you haven't checked any of these out, you definitely should. They're all really, really incredible discs. My 2025 in the bag. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. See you guys in the next one.